how got it, okay. So how the other students will react to whatever they're saying, or their questions. Is it a stupid question? Can I ask this or not? So feeling safe about creating a culture of safety, or they're confident about it, and we will talk about it now, and how we can provide this culture for the students is very important. The second thing is, of course, making sure that the students understand the objective behind why they should engage, and how that will help them in their journey. Because a lot of things that we do as activities to enhance their engagement is not graded, actually. So the students have to relate to something else. Students care a lot about the grades. So how we can make them think that this engagement actually, or during learning, is something that would actually affect their journey and make them better enthusiastic learners. The third thing I care about, or I focus on, is preparing the right activities that would enhance collaboration, interaction, and of course provide them with the opportunity to showcase their work. And of course, a lot of this would act as, or we can create some artifacts or work on certain artifacts like spreadsheets or collaborative boards that we prepare in advance, so that we help in these activities. One thing that I've recognized is that students need time to process. So giving them the right artifacts and the right activities that they can work as well offline, so that they process the information and react accordingly. And by the time they do it, they practice it more. And at the end of the day, they will be like, it will come natural. But at the first, they can struggle with the idea of reacting or reflecting on the spot. So how we can prepare the environment, or create a safe, or in fact accepting environment in online. We can use, or I usually use the chatter for Zoom chat, the chat box. And one thing that we can do to make them safe, and basically to just like have things anonymous, is ask them to rename. Use the on Zoom and rename themselves as either nicknames, and I will differentiate between the two. And or, for example, everyone has the same name, like a dollar or a hashtag. So whenever they put something in the chat, they cannot recognize who's saying what, and they can feel free to share any thoughts, any ideas, or reflect. Because I usually, when I'm explaining something, I give them a moment to reflect on what we're saying, and what does that mean for them, by giving them a specific prompt, like, for example, how this would serve a specific thing. So now they are in a safe way, because no one will know what they're saying, and I can just pick few things and recall them during the session and comment on them. We can also use nicknames. Now, nicknames might be associated with the faces, of course, but it is a way to get to know each other better. So people sometimes put nicknames that tell us about what they enjoy in life, or what things that they would like to share in an indirect way. So sometimes I ask the students put nicknames, and they will just like create some names that tell us about their personality, because we're not seeing each other, and it's a way to connect a little bit and understand each other. The second thing that can be done online, and I've used it, of course, live, is using applications. And if it is not on Zoom, we can use Poll Everywhere. I'm sorry about that. And of course, Mentimeter, Nearpod, or any others, to collect answers anonymously. And in this case, whenever we put a question, the students can answer in the way they want. Like, for example, it can be like open-ended questions, or cloud answers, where they have a question and just put their answers. I can just count the number of students participate. I don't know who says what, but it gives me an indication about how they're reacting to my class during online sessions. And I've used it during on-campus or live sessions previously, and it created a certain dynamics in the class, especially when they're asked to do like small quizzes or challenges. And in these challenges, of course, graded, they're just to get some information or assess how they're understanding. But there's a leaderboard where they also use nicknames and avatars. So it's a funny thing that they do during the class. So I'm sorry, but we will do a Poll Everywhere together. So just like you can go on in the chat this link. Let me just put in the chat the link. PaulF. So, okay. So here you can click on the chat, and of course, and the only thing that you will have is a code that you will enter. And for example, you will be asked a question, and then you will answer this question, and we can set whether we want it to be anonymous or not. Am I sharing the screen? I think I'm not sharing the screen, right?
Dr. Yahya, even the poll is not the link to the poll. It takes you only to poll everywhere.
Okay, so let me.
It takes us to the general form.
It takes, but you have to put AY36. So paulf.com/AY36. So whenever you open it, you will see just like, if it's not opening, then that's fine. We can omit it. Is it working?
It worked for me.
Yeah, it's not for me for some reason.
Okay, so yeah, I have only one answer here. So someone, 2 answers till now. So so basically, you have if it gives you a certain name, you can just skip it. If you want anonymous, it is also anonymous. So you can just skip the name and just put your answer or click on the image so that we know where you spend most of your time at AUB. So as we can see here, we have a variety of places, the green oval and the green field. And of course, you can. This is one example of how we can like do some things that could be interactive by clicking on an image or asking any question during the class. So I will stop it now to save
Just
time.
1 second, let me do it. I know I just
Okay.
got in.
I'm sorry, let me open again. Okay.
Can I mention something? Not all
Yes.
the places are labeled, so probably you're getting green field, green oval, because these are the ones that have names. I was looking for something else. I couldn't recognize where they are. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, so it's just like just testing the app.
Yeah, it's a nice app.
And of course, we can have open questions and the challenges on this. Do I close the?
Yeah, I was lagging a little bit. So I was clicking, and that's what I'm supposed to do, right? I was clicking on one of the areas. I'm clicking again. Does it show me again in addition to your
Yes, it can. It can show many. You can have many answers basically, because I did not limit it to one answer. You can limit it to one answer per person, but it doesn't show names because I did not ask for names. So sometimes you can add, you can put, for example, a pin with a name so that you can identify, for example, who's saying what. But usually in a lot of what I do is that I do not ask for names because a lot of questions are open-ended, and students will feel better if they do not actually use any or have to reveal their names.
I totally agree. Are we supposed to see something, a result, or just you will see it?
Aren't you seeing in the pins in the shared screen? So we have the pins like in the green field and the green oval.
Yeah, I know I could see the pin, but if you want to see what others said, how can you share the?
Yeah, that's what I'm sharing.
Yes, I'm sharing my screen. If you go back to the screen of Zoom, so when I'm sharing now my screen, right? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes,
it shows all the pins here.
Oh,
Anna, we can see.
I don't see the pins.
I see them on my map.
Exactly.
Let me close the.
Sorry, I think you have to share the whole screen because you're sharing only the slides.
Ah, okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Share screen, desktop. Can you see it now?
Yeah, it's bad. It's
Not quite. Okay.
No.
It's the same.
So
No,
can
not
you
yet.
put your mouse on what we should be looking at to see, please?
Let me from current slide. Okay, sorry. Okay, can you see now the pins?
Now,
Yes.
now we can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was lagging a little bit between because I redid that, regenerated the slide, but yes, but usually you should, if I was sharing my slide from the beginning, you should have seen it. When you put a pin, you will see it directly. It will go on the screen directly. Okay, so
very interesting. Thanks.
you're welcome. So yeah, so the other thing, so this is what I do to make a safe environment if I want to ask a question, and I can use it in ice-breaking introductions during, for example, the first session. The other thing I do is that use collaborative boards, and the concept boards create a medium for interaction outside and inside the session, and that's why they're interesting. Examples for collaborative boards are Milanote or Mural or Miro. So these are different collaborative boards, and we'll see some examples. And boards are class activities. I usually do it for two things: either to do an activity in class or to create a virtual exhibition. So students can showcase their work and they can engage in and comment on each other's work offline if they want. Any students with the link can access and edit the board. So I provide the link, and then a visitor link can allow access and comment from a visitor without playing with anything of the board, without changing anything in the board. You just can comment on things that are already in the boards. So the goals for me for these collaborative boards are three. First, creating a community where they actually share each other or comment or make thumbs up or whatever, so they like these things. And second, to engage students with the material itself. And this is what I call the shared experience. Then we do have the material provided to you, and you can comment on the spot if you're reviewing the material and asking questions. You will be having this platform where you can ask a question and get answers from either your instructor or from your colleagues about a question that you have of the material. And the third thing is to showcase their work, either of our projects or for assignments. So the first thing, let us go one by one. Creating a community of learners, we can create something where they share their interest and they introduce themselves. Because we are not online, we are not in person, we do not see each other, we know less about each other, and especially if we do have a interdisciplinary course where students met for the first time. So what I do, I create a community board where students share about themselves. Let's say they put their hobbies, what year they are, about themselves that are interesting. And we have like community book corner where they share their favorite books, or community music corner, they share their favorite music. We get to learn about each other, and this will happen usually before the sessions start and before the semester starts, 1 or 2 days, or sometimes 1 week before the semester starts. They would try to know each other before even getting to class. And this board was created on Mural. The other thing that the boards can do are basically to engage with the material and do some activities. So this is an example how short boards allow students to collaborate on activities. What we do is that we have to be sure that we put instructions for them, and during the class I provide them with the links for their boards, and I put them in breakout rooms and they work together on a specific activity that I provide with the specific instructions. And they can, for example, reflect. I provide for them a place for reflection after they finish the activities, how they felt about the activity or how they felt about the particular thing in class. So these things that they do during the class. And we can use these boards which have sticky notes and a lot of potential for using a lot of items. Now for the also I use these were done on Milanote, another application for the concept board that I usually use. The difference between Mural and Milanote is just the way things are presented for the students. And I started using Milanote because I prefer it. It's an application that has been used in industry, usually for design thinking projects and for planning projects. I'm adapting it to instruction as part of my instruction. And in this case, you can put, for example, all your slides if there are part of the important slides that you want, and your students can go make comments. As you can see here, these are comments of the students, ask questions where I can answer directly. I can put for them, for example, a question here that stimulates their minds, and they can discuss after class about this question and share their opinion. I can put a video, or they can also participate in the learning. So here, for example, a student found something that is interesting, an article, and she shared it, and she shared a video. So they feel that they actually participating in getting the other students know something new, and this make them more enthusiastic about the whole idea. They own it. They're part of the process. They're not actually left behind in this. The other thing that I use the concept board is to showcase students' work. And I think this will allow interaction and discussion because, as I said, students do not usually have a lot of time during the class. If I have a class of 50 students or 40 students, and everyone wants to say something or to show what they worked, they will not have time in class. So what I do instead is that they can show them during on these boards, and the students can go and make a virtual exhibition. So this is an example. This is the board which I present, and each student create a small board for them. So if I click on any of these, you will go into the board of the student, and the students can customize the board as they want, and it's like somehow a virtual exhibition and virtual tour. Here, all the students have their own boards. They put the logo or basically any picture and customize the boards. They can comment, they can go and visit and share whatever they want. Like, let us click here on this specific board, let's say, and this is the board for this student. She created, it was about sharing some sustainability ideas, and she created her own design for the board. And here the students and me have commented and shared some recommendations, ideas, and things about it. And it's very important because students enjoy the comments and the constructive comments that they get. And at the same time, they get the idea that, okay, I'm showing my peers what I'm doing, and I'm celebrating what nice things I'm doing. This is another way of doing it. Like, for example, for a group project, as you can see here in this board, the students, instead of having a presentation, I had, for example, in this session, I had about 32 students in class, and we were very limited in time. So if everyone wants to go and get a very large presentation, then we will not have time for the presentations. So they put their slides here. As you can see here, the members' names and abstract. They had a video for their slides. They add their slides. They add subboards here so that you can go and see the additional calculation that they provide. So they can provide a supplementary material. And here is the comments and questions part where they ask each other questions, and all the members will contribute. And they added, for example, a survey corner. Did you like this idea or not? So they can also collect survey and feedback about their work. So, and of course, the references here. So it's good that the students are able to engage and to take time, because sometimes if you present something, the other students might need some time to think and reflect and process the information. They will now have a big time offline to do it. This is another example of how they create spaces. Like all their boards are spaces for, like, for example, here they put things that they like. They put, for example, somehow logos, and they tell you like, welcome to our exhibition or to our virtual board. And then they organize it, slides, abstracts, Q&A. We can click on the Q&A and we'll see that students are commenting. They have a space to engage with each other and comment, and of course like and put thumbs up, things that they find in social media, they're attracted to it and they're used to doing in their normal life. Why not do it also in their classes and engaging in courses? So how these boards affect the students. Basically, academically, they will get more impressive performance because they're more enthusiastic, they're more creative, and at the same time, there's this peer pressure. People will see their work, so they have to be to do it in the right way. I've seen it that in the cognitive engagement, they are willing to exceed the project's requirement. They went behind my expectation in designing these projects and their boards, and they had a lot of motivation, of course. And the effective or emotional engagement, because this is their creation. They have this positive interaction with their peers. They have this sense of pride in their work and sense of ownership to the work, and especially and even to the material, because when I put the material there and they're adding things from their research or whatever they read, they're actually contributing to the learning process. So how to take this experience to the next level? This is some suggestions basically. So projects using shared border from different courses can basically be shared across campus. So what I imagine is why not have different courses using the same things, and actually the links for the visitors would be shared among the campus or among different courses, where, for example, students can I had a project here that I listed or I showed previously. The students were the idea of sanitary products for women. And it's very interesting to be visited, or this board could be visited from people that are doing social sciences, gender equity, so that they comment and give their contribution from their perspective and actually ask questions that would help the students focus or basically create new ideas for their projects. So why not also have common interdisciplinary projects or where students can collaborate on? But the most important idea is that this idea of sharing. Why don't we have, like, for example, I imagine having these boards among different courses, and my students can visit other courses and get information and get involved and get comments. And at the same time, they will be visited by other students from different faculties and maybe from different universities. It can be upscaled to that level. So this would remove borders between courses and create a real social interdisciplinary learning experience for the students, where they are able to engage with each other and with other people in other courses. Yeah, so let's imagine together. I just want to show a little bit about how so this is Milanote. So without going into details, can you see my screen?
Yes.
So this is the application of Milanote, and it has a lot of boards, and it's very simple because you can create as many boards as you want, and basically, and you can access any board. So my internet is very slow, but usually you can access any board, and you can access actually any of the students' contributions. So I will share with you a link now. Afterward, you can do it afterwards to see or to access this board that was the final project board for the students in engineering sustainability, and you will see how well the students actually managed to build their boards, and how accessible and easy it is for the students to create these boards and to create these virtual spaces for themselves. Let me share this on the screen, in the chat, the link. Just 1 minute. So this is the link. So you can have this link and you can access it whenever you want to just check the Milanote. Usually you can access as a guest or create an account and access it to comment. So to comment, you need to have your name there so that you provide your own comments. And of course, I'm open to questions. And I finish by things that I always I like to share, which is learning is a social experience. Thank you.
Okay. So the floor is open for questions. Just, I think our number is small enough for you to just unmute and ask the question. Can you stop sharing, Dr.?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I do.
Any
Okay.
questions?
I think it's great. I love the idea of the showcasing, how you know, like you build around it the work, and yeah, I can totally see the potential when you know, this tool help them organize and display it in a way that is shareable. Then the potential of scaling it up is also great. So yeah, it's quite. It's a good idea to think about it, that it's about this showcasing what they do and get them engaged in that
Yes.
manner. Yeah, great.
Yes.
Great idea.
And I think we face a lot of things because, especially for example, in engineering and in courses where they have to come and think. I teach the sustainability course, engineering sustainability. They have to think in the social aspect. They have to think in the economic aspect, things that they're not used to think of as engineers. They would love to see people from different disciplines actually connect with them and talk to them about the problem from their perspective. And also in this discipline itself, let's say in engineering, we've seen a lot of people that would struggle in their final year project because they need some contribution from a mechanical point of view or from an electrical or from any other engineering discipline. And they do not know each other very well because they did not take enough interdisciplinary courses. So platform that actually puts them together and knows who's doing what would be an interesting thing.
Yeah.
You know, and also the ability of students to comment on each other's work. I think this is an excellent idea because I think it puts them in the position of being, I think, teachers at the same time learners. So I think this is a very good idea.
Yeah, the
How do students usually like those types of activities?
Yes, a lot. they and it is shown in the amount of comments that they do, or they enjoy it actually. And I think this is the most important thing.
And Dr. Yahya, I like the idea of breaking the walls and the privacy of courses and extending, you know, moving, outreaching, you know, going out of the comfort zone of a course and reaching out to other courses and you know, having kind of a repository of these showcasing and these activities and these projects that cut across different disciplines or that are specific to a discipline. However, accessibility is there,
Yes.
and one would educate themselves on what is going on and what courses, you know, are offering to their students and the AUB community and, you know, higher education community. I like the idea a lot, and I wish it would happen, you know, it would materialize at one point in time. It's fascinating, especially when you say learning is a social experience, and that would prove it.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah, Amal, it's a little bit like what you do with the course, with the reading, where the students do their story. Yeah, my favorite course. I think the excellent piece here is that it does not take extra work.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, I'm thinking back, like you made me think back at some point, a group of my students, like we really wanted to present the field because it's kind of, you know, the education administration was like not very familiar, like what do you study really there, or what do you think about? And it took a lot of extra effort because our goal was that at the end of the course, we want to showcase the beauty of what you're presenting is that it can organically be built throughout, and you get all these side, you know, other benefits as well. You know, like they are connecting, they are interacting, they are reflecting together, all these
Exactly.
learning benefits, but you end up at the end of the course with something that can be brought publicly and used publicly. And I'm using publicly beyond, like Aman said, you know, like beyond the course
Classroom walls.
itself, the classroom walls. Yes, the class,
Absolutely.
those
Absolutely.
registered. So
Yeah.
so I think it's wonderful to
Yeah.
think about it this way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I, you know, like especially today, I was thinking as I was coming into this workshop that, you know, like tomorrow we're going back to you know, classes and no more online, but I
Yes.
still think that this, you know, like this doesn't have to be online.
Yes,
Like what
that's
you're showing, like we can be in person and
exactly.
engaging
Yeah.
in some ways, doing things like that, preparing things like that.
Because
as well.
because it's sad sometimes, because people students put a lot of effort in things which they're not able to share it because of the limitation of like classrooms and time. You don't have time to tell what you think. And I think this can go beyond the classroom, after the classroom.
Yeah,
People
yeah. So it can be like for the, you know, more like that, what we call the assignments, you know, not necessarily ongoing as well. So,
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Alisa, yeah, I just, I mean, the idea is wonderful, and it's really fascinating. It's a lift to the way we do things. I'm just curious if you faced any challenges while applying this. Can you think of the challenges that you have faced and how you surmounted them?
Yes. So the first challenge would be, now students like these things, but at the same time, when you want them to comment and just do this during everything that they're doing at the same time. Like for example, it was a project and they have a lot of things to do. Now, do they have time to do it? So we have to set a few things, like what I need you to do, how we can encourage them. So this is what I face, how I can encourage them to first not only comment, be constructive in their comments. Because the first time I did it, and the assignments individual, they were commenting, they were enjoying it, they were going and seeing what each one is doing, but it was like, nice work, good work, I loved your work. It wasn't constructive, it wasn't something that is deep enough. So I asked them in the final project to think they can comment on anything that you want, but at least think of 3 major things, like either a comment, either an argument, or a question that is constructive and deep enough about technical issues, and about the things that are related to the project itself, rather than these related to the aesthetics. In order to, like, it was a requirement for them to go and comment for 3, but they exceeded the 3. Like, they were very happy, and I wanted, like, and of course the other students that are members of the group, that they have to answer the questions. That's another requirement. So yeah, so these things, just to make sure that the students are not only celebrating, but they're as well learning something and teaching others.
Yeah, this is kind of learning at a deeper level. You know, it's these comments and these reflections on each other's work,
yes,
that is leading to more meaningful, purposeful, and deeper
exactly.
learning, I would say.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Other questions? Thank you, Dr. Yahya.
Thanks. Thanks everyone.
The floor is yours, and you can still share your screen. You have the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Salma. And thank you, Alisa. Amazing presentation. Like, the diversity of tools that you presented is fascinating. From my side, I did not prepare slides. I just wanted to have like an informal discussion about a tool that I used, which was mentioned by Alisa, which is actually Mural. And we're going to have like a activity together just to show you how it works and what it does, and hopefully it can help you in your courses. So I just wanted to share a story before I start. You remember October 2019, when suddenly we had to move to online teaching, And me personally, I've been just teaching, you know, face to face and with no online learning experience and teaching experience. I thought that I'm going to continue what I've been doing in class, just, you know, online. So I started looking for different tools. I looked for, you know, Zoom and WebEx and Microsoft Teams. I started comparing them, and I decided to use Microsoft Teams because it was embedded, you know, part of the UB platform. And I set up my class. You know, it was the first lecture, and I started sharing my slides. And usually in a face-to-face class, I do it in an interactive way. So I always have discussions around the slides. And I remember we were doing the database chapter in Info 200, right, Randa? And so I started sharing my slides, and I wanted, you know, to engage.
It was a disaster, Fuad. I remember very well.
So
my class was a disaster, not yours.
Yeah, let me tell you what happened with me. So I shared my slides, and I wanted to continue my discussion like I used to do in a face-to-face setting. So I started asking questions, and I was so happy that the students who were vocal in class, they were actually engaged. They unmuted themselves and started responding, and you know, going deep in specific concepts. And I was taking notes, and you know, more students jumped in. So the lecture ended, and I was so happy. I was like, you know, I know how to do it. This is it. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Until the second day, I received an email from a student, and she was a very good student. She was very attentive in class. She was, you know, not very vocal, but she was constantly kind of present and doing all the deliverables. So she started the email saying, "Dear professor, you know, I appreciate all the effort that you're making, that you're not interrupting our classes, and so," but she ended saying that the lecture yesterday was not that good. I did not like it. She felt that she was like left out. We had some students having a conversation, and apparently she was like not able to join the conversation. And unlike like in a physical classroom, you don't have this visibility over your students. You cannot make these kinds of connections beyond like the way you do it you cannot do this online the way you do it in a face-to-face lecture. So I was really this was eye-opening to me. I started thinking, how can I connect with my students in a different way? How can I engage them? If I was presenting slides, students were complaining. What about activities? What about when we start doing actually solving cases or solving problems? So I started looking for different tools. I started comparing, you know, Microsoft Whiteboard and etc. And then after the semester, I was invited to a tool that Alisar mentioned, to a webinar that about Mural, which is the, you know, online interactive board. So I realized that it has some features that could make the activity a little bit more engaging with my students. So what we're going to do an activity together on Mural so that you could get a feel of what it does and how it works. But before I do that, let me share my screen, and then I will give you access to the board. Okay, so I prepared this activity for this session, for this webinar, hoping that we could share some tips beyond what Alisar and myself, you know, just sharing, hoping that, you know, we can engage in sharing more tips around us. So this is how it looks like. It's like, as Alisar mentioned, it's an online board. And what's nice about it is that those little features that are there. For example, it has a timer that I'm talking about synchronized lecture. So I'm talking about students working within the session in a live way with you in class. So the timer here is a good way to keep the activity on track. So you don't want to have students, not being able to know where you are, where they are, and how to move forward. So a timer was useful in this case. Other features are like, of course, you can zoom in as much as you want, is that you can lock things on the screen. In other words, the shapes like this one, you could see that you have a small lock that appears on the screen. This prevents students from messing around the shape of the board that you have. And this used to happen a lot with me when I used to use Google Slides, and students used to move things around. It used to get messy. And this feature was really useful to keep forms that you create, the design that you create on the board, fixed so that students cannot change them. And you keep the other things that are editable, possible for students. Another thing that was nice is the ability to give instructions to students right on the screen. Like here you have a feature called outline. When you press it, you will be able to give the instructions to students, like what are they expected to do in the first step. Like here, first thing that they have to do, or we have to do, is to choose an individual box, use sticky notes, enter your name, etc. So you give the whole description of the step here. And as you can see, wherever you click, it will take you to the place on the board where students are expected to enter the data. Okay, so this gives you a lot of guidance as a instructor in the session, and a lot of information to students. So how do students add content? There are different ways for them to do that. First, you can provide them with existing stuff on the screen to help them to start and enter content without moving things or integrating things. Like here, I put for you to write your name. So I'm going to write my name just to show you. I double click on this label. So I'm typing my name. And then you have sticky notes that you can start typing. For example, one of the tips that I would like to share with you is that I used self-recorded presentations plus submission on /discussion on Moodle forum. Okay, so that's one of the tips that I think worked well with me in one of the courses. And what you can do is you can also add things to the board. And on the left, this is where you have all the options available to you. The first thing that is available is the text. So you can add text content. So you can add, for example, titles. So you can drag and put things here, and you can start changing. You can add text boxes, comments, and of course, sticky notes are very useful, and you can add in different colors and different sizes. So like here, I'm going to add circle one, whatever. And you can also add shapes and connectors. And this is especially useful for if you're drawing diagrams like business processes or any other types of diagrams. You can add the shapes and you can easily connect them together through the connectors. Another thing that you can add are icons. And this is useful for students to express themselves visually. Like if you'd like to add, I don't know, a person, you can search for it and add an icon of a person. So there are a lot of different icons. You can add also frameworks, like a grid area where you can where you would like them to spread the content differently. You can also add images, and those are coming from the web. So if you search, for example, for AUB, you can just drag things and add them here, like, or I don't know, Moodle. So I can add Moodle to my box, which is useful in this case. And here, if you saved any content library, you can also import files from your computers and upload them here, or you can drag and drop things like images. And of course, you can draw. So you can use the mouse to draw, or your hand using the iPad or the tablet. So that's basically it. Another thing that was very useful for a synchronous lecture was the ability to see where every student in class is pointing on the screen with their names. And to me, that was very useful to be able to guide them and give them live feedback during class, telling them, for example, Alisar, you're pointing at the wrong place. Can you please move this whatever shape here? Or can you do this? And then I started noticing students started communicating together in class while they are working on this common board. And this kind of engaged them in a much in a very different way. So I'm going to show you how this looks like. How do you see what other people are doing by sharing this link with you? So if you can please go to the chat and where's the chat button? Okay, found it. So please, whenever it asks you to enter your name, please make sure to use your name so that we can see each other's locations on the screen. So I just shared with you the link on the chat. Okay, great. So you can see now Randa's moving around. And Alisar. And this kind of live interactivity is, to me, was very, very useful in the lecture. So do you have any?
Dr. Fuad, I'm getting your browser is not supported.
Oops. I think maybe you're using the Internet Explorer, maybe a previous version. So if you have Chrome installed, I think, or Firefox, it should work. So I recommend, do you have any question about some of the features or what it can do?
But those are moving very quickly. You cannot follow them.
Yeah, by the way, you can follow specific users.
Yes, I follow them, yeah.
Yes.
So basically, Fuad, you create this template and it's like a shared board, and you ask students to answer to specific questions in specific areas, right?
Exactly. I mean, it really depends on the activity that you're conducting. If it's like, if you're trying to pull information from students, you can do one type of activity, or if you'd like to use it the way also Alisar was doing, like in asynchronous lectures, you can create those boards for students to apply their, I don't know, assignments or solve specific things on their own.
And so how are you using it? Because at the beginning you told us what happened in October 19 with the participation, etc. So now are you using this to present the content of your lectures and allowing students to comment on the slide instead of commenting on live? Is that it?
No, currently I'm still using slides, but for activities and discussions, I am mainly doing things on boards like those. And usually I'm keeping it as well for teamwork. Maybe if we do like this activity now together, just for a very short time, let's spend like 5 minutes, if you can add a little bit of tips, and then we split into smaller teams, and then we come back to discuss, just to show you how the tool can somehow synchronize the activity among us. And how about that?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I have a question, maybe for you and Elisar, maybe this could be addressed at the end, is how do you integrate all these tools with the main platform? So you use Teams. I don't know if Elisar uses Teams or Moodle, but I mean, how do these embed? How do they connect? Can students come back to them, or do they need to log in to all these different platforms?
Okay, I have a quick answer, Elisa, before, if you'd like to join. Basically, Randa, I create like the one I just did now. I just use a link and I share it if we're using Zoom like now or Teams. I just share it on the chat, and that's it. We do the activity, within the lecture. But I think
Okay,
in
but
the
they
case of
don't need to
Elisa,
come back to it. They don't need to come back to it as a reference later on.
I mean, you can add the same link on Moodle,
And the page remains over time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do both. So when I'm doing activity in class, so in breakout rooms or teams as this activity now, as Fuad is saying, we share it on chat, but I put another, I leave it on Moodle as a reference, because students sometimes like to go back for it and they might lose the link. So yeah, we can add the links all on Moodle.
Okay, thanks.
And
because
now,
this is always a challenge for me to keep everything, organized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll put like Excel sheet with all the links that they have, for example, with the name of the activity, so that they can go back to it.
Okay, thanks. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's have like 3 minutes just for you to book an individual space, and if you'd like to share some of the tips that worked for you. And then before we move to also a very short breakout room. So I'm going to run the timer now for 3 minutes. As you can see now, you have the timer that is clear in front of you.
Is there a way we can zoom in to see what we're writing?
Yes, Sarah, you can I either use the mouse, the wheel on the mouse, or you can click on the plus sign on the bottom right of the screen.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
My challenge is that the screen is jumping around. So basically I can't see my space anymore, and it's too small, so I can't really see. How do we zoom in?
So Randa, if you zoom out and you see the whole board, you just point the mouse where your you think your space is, which is the second box next to mine. And you just zoom in using the mouse and it will just increase.
I'm getting a bit dizzy. I keep on clicking and it takes me in and out. And then I feel I'm rotating. I'm doing the wrong thing, right?
Where are you, Rima? Let me try to.
I mean, the screen is moving on its own.
Really? What? It's not supposed to do that, Randa.
I know, I'm sure it's not supposed to do that. I'm probably.
Maybe there's an internet glitch or.
I've been trying to write something, but.
You could see that Elisar is like used to mural and she's filling in all the notes, which is great. Arima, you found it.
And I did too.
Yeah.
So what you can do is that if you feel that students need a little bit more time, you can just add like a minute to the timer while addressing their issues. Amal, it worked?
Yes, it did. Thanks.
It worked. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Okay, there's 30 seconds left.
It worked, Dr. Fuad. It worked for me, and I was observing what's going on and who's following who. But I didn't know how to add tips or how to write the sticky notes.
Something on the, yeah. You just have to double click on one of them, and then you can start writing.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm out of time. But I'm happy I could log in and I can see the movement.
Yeah, I mean this is what I wanted to show you, like the interactivity.
Yeah.
That you could see here.
Yeah.
And usually I challenge my students when they are working in teams by telling them that later you're going to present this activity and it should be coherent. So in other words, they have to communicate together and to be in sync. And this tool was really kind of helpful in doing that.
It's very interesting. It gets you engaged and involved, and it's challenging. If you have a problem, you want to be part of this movement that's going on. What happens, Dr. Fuad, with those students who are not really familiar with the system? How much time does it take you to get them familiar with this mode?
That's a good question. Usually what I do is I do an icebreaker activity at the beginning of the semester where I use this as an opportunity just for students to introduce themselves and for them to explore how the tool works. And usually it takes around half an hour, which is it takes a bit of time for them to get familiar with the shapes and how to add things. So yeah, around half an hour.
Yeah. I'm thinking whether there's something that needs to be done university-wide where students are introduced to these platforms before kind of orientation to online platforms, so that when they come to your courses or anybody's courses, at least they have an idea, and that would save you the half hour for your own course content. So if students
Absolutely.
come to, having been prepared or having been oriented to such wonderful interactive activities.
Absolutely, it will make a big difference. So what I started doing now is I'm doing it before the semester starts by creating a space, and I am asking them to start, adding a picture, putting some kind of hobbies that they have, and then and this way they are indirectly being trained before class on those shapes, and yeah, this makes a big difference.
Yeah, this is a wonderful idea, a very important idea. Thank you.
Yes, but I mean, if we have like a space, online for sharing all those tools that we have. And if we can provide training a little bit as you're proposing, that will be even more efficient.
Yeah, true, very true. Thank you.
I have a question for related to the free component, because like in engineering, because we use it, it is available. But for example, other faculties where what is the limitation for the free version of Mural? Are there specific limitations in the number of boards, or because like I think there's something like this or not? I'm just.
So Alisa, you're using the free version, the free access?
No. For us in engineering, we do have access because we through the interdisciplinary design practice program. But not everyone, people that are not a part of this program, then they do not have the free access. I mean, as instructors. So is this the same in your school, or so are you using the free version or non-free version?
No, actually, it's the educational version that doesn't have limitations as the free. I think the free version has like if you can create up to 5 murals, and then, but in like in my case, I have the educational version that is free, and but you can create as many murals as you like. Great.
That's great. Yeah, because this was also a limitation in Milanote, and that's why I shifted a little bit to Mural, because there's a limitation in the number of actually items that you put.
Right.
For the students, it's okay because they have, for example, 200 or 300 items to use in a project. That's okay. It's a limitation also on like some kind of you have some limits. But yeah, it's good that there's an educational free version for it.
Yeah, in this case, it's open actually. You can add as many shapes and as many elements and murals, and yes, it's open.
Great.
It's open. So usually, basically, what I do is, as you can see in the lower space, we have like a team space where this second layer is where I create breakout rooms. But I don't think now it's going to be very useful for us because we are very few in numbers. So we don't have like a large number of participants. So usually what I do is like I let teams organize themselves around a specific part on the board so that they own the space and have like a team-based discussion around. And what the tool enables me to do is to have a high-level view of how the teams are working and to see which one is lagging. And I join the breakout rooms, give them feedback if they need, if they have any question. So I start moving around. So it helps me in tracing the how each team is working in a more efficient way. So these are little things that I think I learned the hard way after many sessions of online teaching, where being able to cater for everyone in class, being able to give feedback on time, and to be able to engage students who feel disconnected around the activity. Like I collected feedback from students after using the tools, and they were really happy. Like some of them said that we feel like we're part of the same class after they worked in a breakout room and on a tool. It's like it creates this visual connection between students that is very hard to perform in an online environment. So yeah, I hope that was useful, and if you have any additional questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Do you think when you go back to in person, you'll still use these tools?
Absolutely.
Or you will go to the traditional? Yeah, great.
Absolutely. Alisar, I used to use Google Slides for activities like those, even in face-to-face. But now that I discovered those online interactive kind of tools, and I think I will continue using them, because I discovered that even in class, and if they want to continue working at home later, imagine having this board that you start working on in class, taking them home and continue working. I think what you're doing in your project, I think, is very valuable to have a board like this. And I think what about you? Are you going to keep on using it?
Yes, yes. We use, for example, to use physical boards and sticky notes, but it's again, it's environmentally more friendly to use these virtual tools, and they will sit together and talk to each other instead of being in breakout rooms. But they still can do it on virtually, and as you said, they can take it home. So it's theirs. We usually dismantle the boards and return them. So yeah.
Exactly.
You know, one of the things about this tool is that I'm thinking about students working together in a team, and they're from different parts of the country, and or they live in different parts of the city itself. They can continue working together even if they're in different places. And I think even if you're doing a class face-to-face, work this way would be very useful.
So maybe like less during, but you know, because somewhat to build on what you said, one limitation of assigning group projects used to be that the students, you know, like they need to come together in addition to the time of the class, which was not easy and feasible, especially like in our case. You know, there is a lot of students who work, have different lives. They are not necessarily full-time only students. So yeah, this definitely will be a great tool for teamwork afterward. You know, like making these assignments that you ask them to work together. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly,
I see what you're saying, Dr. Rima and Dr. Boujodi, but it's and this gives us an edge as course instructors, where students cannot say, you know, I didn't have time to meet, they scheduled a time where I couldn't come, all these reasons for not really participating in group work. That would help us overcome these problems. However, we have other problems with this. You know, there is no electricity, no.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll always have problems, but it's controlled.
Yeah.
Yes. And related to this point is that I'm teaching a course, you know, now the master's course, and students are abroad. They are working abroad, and now they will be able to continue working on the team project because of tools like those and those collaborative aspects. And I think it will change the way we we connect and we design, I think, the activities. Yeah.
And I think Dr. Fuad and Dr. Alisar, I think we're bringing our students to the 21st century. I think this makes them, you know, kind of abreast of, you know, of developments, and they would feel it. They would feel that they are technologically now able and know a lot. You know, it's not only the textbook and the activity in class, and so you're giving them a new way of thinking, a new way of looking at life out there. It's a different view. It's a different perception of what's going on, which is very important. It's a byproduct. That's not our goal. These are not our learning outcomes. And I'm laughing because learning outcomes are associated with the center, CTL, but it's not our learning outcome. However, it's a byproduct, and a very valuable byproduct, which we may not really measure or assess or be aware of, but it could be a very important outcome in our teaching practices.
That's true. Like, I had a student who emailed me saying that, you know, one of the things that I learned in this course is this tool, and I'm using it now with another course and at my internship. And
exactly.
That's
Yes, students know whatever project they have in any course, they do the same things that they acquired during doing these activities or any. They use it to brainstorm, to put things together, to plan together, to put even to plan, like they put calendars and put their days. Like they can do whatever they want. It's just a common space for them.
Exactly. So I think we cannot hear you.
I don't know. I'm saying thank you, Elisar and Fuad, for a very interesting and interactive session with a lot of useful tools. I think we can benefit from it even if you were working face to face. Thank you for attending all the others. The only person we did not really welcome is Abraham Idokoko. So welcome, Abraham, because he came a little bit late.
Hi, Abraham.
He's muted and no camera, so I don't know what it is.
Yeah, hello everyone. Sorry, I taught a class until about middle, so I had to join from another class. That was why I joined late. So I just had to keep up. Good enough, I met up with Alisa's presentation. So I'm sorry for joining late.
Okay.
It's okay.
Well, it's quite an interesting tools, both tools, and I think I've been participating in trying to learn everything you have used. But thank you, both of you.
Welcome.
Thank you
for joining.
Thanks for joining.
And Abraham, the session is recorded, so you can come back for it when it's published.
Okay, thank you. I will look out for that.
I was thinking of you, Dr. Karami, Dr. Rima. You may want, as our chair, you may want to encourage us, your faculty, to start exploring these these teaching venues, and just
you're always our champion, Aman, in this department. So yalla bukra curriculum committee. Bring it up. Yeah, it's great. Really great.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. See you all soon. Tomorrow.
Thank you for organizing.
Tomorrow we'll see a lot of people on campus. Let's hope so.
Yep. Yeah. Good luck.
Looking forward.
In person tomorrow for everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.